Rinpoche, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's such an honor to have you here.
My pleasure.
We're so happy to have you here in Nelson, the place where you decided to sort of make your headquarters and the place for you where you rest and you recharge and come home to. That's such a nice thing to have you here. How did you end up finding Nelson and ending up coming up here?
It's a long story. Many years ago, when I lived in Australia, I met a local person. She invited me to Nelson and to teach at David Thompson University Center. That was back in 1980.
Really, back at DTUC?
Yeah, DTUC, yes.
DTUC days.
Yes.
Oh.
So I taught there in the springtime. This is how I end up in Nelson. Then I travel around, and I always come back to Nelson.
That's great. So we have the Gompa here in the Kootenays. You have this beautiful temple that you've built. You must be very happy to have that so close to home.
Oh yes, I'm very feel fortunate. I live in Canada. I'm a Canadian citizen, and especially I'm very happy to be in Kootenays, such a beautiful country.
Well, that's great. Such a great place to receive your teachings as well.
Thank you.
So we're here today to define the benefits of meditation. Let's start with a very fundamental question. Why meditate? What's the main purpose of meditation?
Right. That's a good question. Why meditate? Well, I think meditation is a natural thing. I think people go way back for thousands of years. People always meditate. I don't mean everybody meditates, but different types of people, especially people who are sensitive and deep thinkers, and they spontaneously meditate. And what I mean is they sort of go inside and go on a deeper level of consciousness, and then so when you focus the mind on your consciousness or on your breath, then it will bring you in the present moment instead of going to the past or future. So being in the present moment is very important to see yourself, your mind and your body and what is happening in you. So you can see yourself clearly. It's like looking at the mirror. I think that's why people meditate.
Right. Calm down and see oneself. I remember the Dalai Lama responding to someone that they said that I fall asleep when I meditate. And the Dalai Lama said, sleeping is good meditation.
Yes, I think that's correct. There is actually a meditation called reclining meditation.
Reclining?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when it's Buddhism actually, Buddha himself advised, people should do reclining and lie down and take a nap, whatever. And then that could be reclining meditation.
That's one of the positions, right?
Right.
The Buddha when he's
right.
on his side. Is that
right?
What
There's
that is?
two postures. One is called resting or reclining posture, and the other one is when he entered nirvana. When he left his body. So that's another posture.
Right. That sitting position,
right,
with the upright spine and all
right.
that. What are the main principles behind the type of meditation that you do, and what could you tell us about Tibetan meditation?
Well, that's actually a very big question, and it's sort of very wide question, because we do have many levels of meditation and varieties of meditation and different techniques. It depends on really what type of meditation you want to do. But I think the principle of meditation is doesn't matter what meditation you do. One of the principle is motivation. I think the motivation is very important. You should have a good motivation, virtuous motivation, clear ideas why you're meditating, and also there is what we call ethics of meditation, morality of meditation, and you meditate for the purpose of virtues and cultivate something positive, not just sort of meditate to kill the time, kind of, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And using meditation for whatever, some mundane purpose.
Right. So having a point of intention is a good thing to have then.
Good intention, good motivation. Then the meditation becomes more rich and profound, more meaningful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But do you have a fundamental explanation of what the difference between meditation and prayer is, or are they ultimately just different vocabulary for the same sort of thing?
Yeah, I think they are different. This is my definition, okay? I think meditation, not all meditations are prayers. Because the prayer, English word prayer, I think usually comes from a religious tradition, right? And like you praying to God or praying to, whoever, the supreme being or some, right? Some savior or protector you're praying. So that could be meditation because you focus your mind to the object of prayer to God, whoever. So then you focus the mind there with a single pointedness mind, or, so that I call that is meditation, type of meditation. And but not all meditations are prayers because, as I said, prayer has a religious connotation or religious term, right? Today, lots of people who are not religious at all, they do meditate, and some people don't even like religions, they meditate. So, so there's, I think, difference between the prayer and meditation.
Right. For someone who wants to get into meditation, someone who wants to start and incorporate that into their life, and they're not familiar with it, what would be the best way to get started, to get
Well,
going?
I think the best way to start is you first need a instructor, meditation instructor. I call the word coach. Okay, coaching. Anything you learn, anything you want to do something practical, or I think reading book is not enough. There are many books, and when you read more and more books, you get a little bit scattered, confused. And then a lot of people these days go to Google and websites. There's so many words, so many things, so many ways of explaining, then you get a little bit confused, right? So don't know where to start.
Right.
And everything sounds wonderful, right? So that's why you need to have instructor or coach, someone who have been meditating for a long time, and someone that you feel good teacher, good person, someone you can trust. Then you ask advice and the basic instruction on how to meditate. I think then this is I think how you should start meditation. And then of course you can read books and you can explore by yourself as well.
Right. Well, that is a very good suggestion, because in fact when people go looking, the problem with the internet is that it's infinity.
Yes.
Everything is in it, right?
Yeah.
And so to actually find your way to the center of a topic or center of something like meditation, it can get very confusing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing about the internet, and is also another thing is very impersonal, right? Unpersonal. Because a lot of people nowadays, they think, wow, why bother get in a car and drive to a meditation center, go through the traffic, takes 45 minutes each way, and so on and so on. I can just, sit in front of my computer and serving, and I can learn so many things. Even in YouTube, there's all these teachers, but it's impersonal.
Yeah.
And also you can't really ask questions right there, right? And another thing is when you sit with meditation teacher or instructor, sitting with or together, and you have to learn how to sit properly, right? Meditation, we have a posture, meditation posture, and then you can also feel the energy
Yes.
of the meditator, your coach,
Yeah.
and the room, place
Yeah.
where people meditate.
Yeah.
So it's more intimate as you can get lots of benefit from having teacher and sitting with somebody,
Right.
meditating with somebody.
That whole energetic level, the energy that we are, it's all intermingling, right?
Right.
You have a room with 50 people meditating. That's
Wow,
that's
very
got power, right?
powerful. You see, when you go to an ashram or you go to a temple where people meditated, even it's empty, nobody's there, you walk in, you can feel the energy.
Yeah.
I know I used to go to the ashram in Kootenay Bay. It's such a beautiful, you can feel the energy, and it's beautiful because so many people meditated there. You know.
Yeah. Everything is vibration. So when we leave and we establish that
Right.
focus or that vibration of meditation,
Right.
it infuses and it stays in everything, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I see that. How do you incorporate, speaking of frequency and sound
Right,
and
right,
all that,
right.
how do you incorporate singing bowls and bells? Are they, just to sort of explain where their purpose is, where are they used? In the meditation or just to start, establish the space? What are the best
Well-
uses of the singing bowl, for
Well,
instance?
we have in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, we have many different kinds of instruments. We use bells, we use drums, cymbals, or big horns. We have also a smaller kind of instrument, looks like a clarinet or a saxophone, kind of like that, right?
Right.
Drumming and so forth. We use these instruments before meditation, and usually because the sound brings people's consciousness here in the present moment. It helps. And also because we hear all kinds of different sound, right?
Right.
And too many different sounds. And this is a different kind of sound because it's very sound of meditation. Like the Zen, the big gongs and the big drum. Shamanic people use big drums.
Right.
And it brings you in the moment. And shamanic people have saying that the drum is the one who brings you closer to the spirit, your inner spirit, right? Also help you to reach the outside spirit, the God, whichever, right? So we use the bells and instruments before meditation, but sometimes also during the prayers, when we talked about prayers before, we do in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, we do prayers, we do practice called sadhana. And so there's a places where you can ring the bells and use the drum, and then it makes more powerful. The prayer becomes more powerful.
Right.
Now the singing bowl is what we have here in the West. It's actually the singing bowl is not I want to make it clear. It's actually not a Tibetan instrument.
Oh, really?
And I have not seen the singing bowls in Tibet or in Mongolia, but I think it originated in Nepal, closer to Tibet, up in the Himalayas. Okay, you've been to Himalayas, right?
Yes,
Nepal.
yes.
And there are people in Nepal, Tibet, we call Tibeto-Nepalese.
Oh, yeah.
And Nepal is Tibeto-Nepalese, Indo-Nepalese, two kinds of Nepalese, because Nepal is right in the middle between Tibet and India.
Yes.
So those Tibeto-Nepalese people, they are Tibetan people, the Sherpas. Certain Nepalese people use those bowls for, again, same purpose, or meditation or prayers or so on and so forth.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I like singing bowls. They're beautiful, and they're different size, right?
Yes.
And now they even have a singing bowl made with crystal or some glass.
Crystal.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful.
The Japanese make
Yeah.
really nice crystal bowls.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so actually in Japanese tradition, the Zen tradition, they beat the gong. Actually, they have different gongs. The ball gong, the ball that sits on the cushion, that's a Japanese tradition. So you ring that, and that's really singing bowl.
Yes.
So I think the idea of singing bowl largely come from, I would say, Japan, and then China, then Tibet.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially that really fine, long, resonating sound that they
Right.
create. I mean, the way that I've used the singing bowl is to create the space, and I follow the sound into infinity. And when the sound disappears, I establish my own meditative space. So
Right.
I like that as a
Yes.
as a separator. Now, speaking of that, that creating that space in your mind and the difference between prayer and meditation, all that, we talk a lot about. The word that's used a lot these days is mindfulness. Mindfulness has become a very present in the modern talk of meditation and all that. What are your views on mindfulness? What is mindfulness? What would you
Thank you.
describe that as?
Well, mindfulness teaching actually originally taught by the Buddha himself. There is a sutra called Maha Satipatthana Sutra. Maha means great, Satipatthana means mindfulness. So the Buddha taught the Sutra of mindfulness in India, and he talked about 4 kinds of mindfulness. Mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of mind, mindfulness of object of mind. So you first meditate on mindfulness of body. You observe your body, and then you also meditate on breath. Mindfulness of breath is called Anapranasati. That's part of the body. You focus the mind on the breath. Then breathing meditation becomes a bridge between your body and mind. So it's like balancing the body and mind, right? You just focus mind on the breath. Then you can feel your body. You can feel more about your mind and things. You can see things clearly, right? So mindfulness meditation is very important, and this is actually basic, fundamental Buddhist meditation, mindfulness. Nowadays, people are interested in mindfulness, I think, because there are so much going on. So our mind is distracted.
So many distractions.
There's so many distractions, right? And then people have no mindfulness. What do you mind for what? Don't know where to focus, right? Mind is so scattered. That's why mindfulness practices help you to say, focus mind here, there, one at a time. Slow down, be here and now,
Yeah.
mindful of your breath or body or whatever, right? That's why it helps you. I think that's why people are into mindfulness.
It's so important to find that. Most people, when they're in silence, they're alone and they don't know what to do. They turn on the television.
Right.
They turn on more distractions.
Exactly.
They're already distracted enough.
I know. Yeah.
And then they turn on more distractions.
Yeah, even people, I notice some people go to countryside in the weekends, and then it's so quiet, right? And then they bring a ghetto blaster,
They bring stereo.
bring television, and sit around and make so much noise. And so what's the point of coming to the country? I know why they come to the country, but I sometimes wonder why you're distracting yourself.
They themselves are missing the point of what it is they want. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the weekend camping in the provincial campgrounds sometimes is a nightmare because one time I was camped, I had one guy to the left into country and western, and the guy on the right was into rock and roll.
Well,
So,
that happened to me many years ago. I was in Algonquin Park in Ontario, right?
Yeah.
Camping, and there's 3 guys sitting next to my campsite. The whole Saturday, all night they're sitting there playing music and drinking beer, and they miss out everything about the forest and birds and everything. That's,
Just missing the point.
yeah, but they're having a good time, I guess.
Yeah. Well, staying busy with stuff, not
Right.
not the mindful stuff that we're
Right,
talking
right.
about, right? Where this mindfulness is so much better than just drinking beer and listening to the same old songs. Yeah, yeah. So, in terms of where the world is right now, where we're at, I mean, how do you think meditation can help the world right now? What suggestions would you have? This is sort of like how to incorporate mindfulness into your daily life. You know, people,
Right.
as you mentioned earlier, people don't even necessarily have a specific religion that they believe in. They're just following a spiritual path of their own. But so meditation can help like almost anyone, right? Or anyone, actually. There are no limits. But what does the
Yeah.
world need right now?
Well, I think our world need a lot. People think the world need so many things. People do think, and I do think the world need a lot. But I think one of the most important things, what world really need now, right now, is world need love and compassion and prayer. You know, whoever you're praying, whatever your beliefs are, you pray. And it's all same, right? I believe all the prayers are the same. You're praying to God, pray to Buddha, whoever. It's all same thing. Prayer is very good, very important. And also mindfulness or meditation is very important one, because when you meditation is not just for you. Some people think, just I meditate, then I'm happy, then forget about the world, right? And but you can meditate for the world, and if people are meditating, then people are become more gentle, more calm, more peaceful, more happier, more content, less grasping, become less greedy. So this could be a good example for others. And we can also pray and that everybody will have a chance to have a peaceful life, peaceful mind, and we can meditate. Meditation is very good for the world, and I see more and more people meditating now everywhere. This is a good sign.
The meditation has an effect on the collective mind.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so
Yeah, collective consciousness.
collective consciousness.
Right. What we call individual consciousness. Then individual consciousness makes the collective consciousness, and it has influence, subtle waves, consciousness waves going, right? I meditate, and my friends meditating. Sometimes we are both meditating, same thing, right? Same thing, and we also use the word collective karma. And so when you meditate, you're creating good karma. So that it contributing the collective good karma. Then that changes the world. Karma means action, right? Good action.
Good action.
Good action.
The more people are participating in this collective consciousness and feeling, the better things go overall, right?
Right.
That's what we're looking for.
Yes.
I often wonder if the world is in more trouble now than it has ever been, or is really solving problems and challenges just the journey of life. We
Right.
come here to do that, you know.
Yes.
Do you think it's worse now than it's been before, or
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the history of the world. I'm not a historian, but
you're here and now?
But what I know, what I see, I like history myself. I did do a little bit of reading here and there, and basically there was always trouble, problems in the world. Right, from the Buddhist point of view, what we called ignorant, greed, and anger, and attachment, and frustration. All this is part of human mind. We always had these things, downfalls, dark side, always there. There was always tribal wars and savage wars. People think, and there was no wars, but yes, there was wars. Even you see our ancestors like chimps and monkeys, baboons, and gorillas, they fight each other.
Yeah.
They destroy each other. So that's part of human nature, There was always trouble. But I think today it's sort of, what do you call it? In one side, you have these wonderful things going on in the world. There's so much communication. We do so much community work and service and help and and there are so many wonderful people, generous people, do so much. But at the same time, there are many problems, and today there's more problems because we have more people.
It's a bigger world.
Yeah, bigger world, more bodies, more minds. And then technology. Technology can be good, but also when misused, technology, then it causes so many problems. I mean, I'm talking about the weapons, right? All these weapons.
Yeah.
And the weapons of mass destruction cause so much suffering.
Yeah.
We didn't have those kind of weapons like long time ago, right?
Yeah. So it's a bigger scale.
Yes. Everything is big now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not just big in America. It's big everywhere.
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah. So the more people we can get meditating, the better.
Right. So it's like the more people do the positive things, then it could help to change things around, And I mean, basically human beings, deep inside, nobody wants suffering, right? Everybody wants peace and happiness deep inside. So let's put that way, hopefully that more and more people will see the light and get some realization.
Yes. And introduce some mindful living, some mindful being.
Yes. Yes.
Are there any upcoming events or things that are happening for you in Nelson or the Gompa or anything you'd like to talk about? Or
not at the moment. I gave some public talks, and that's the last Wednesday was the last one. I gave a talk on meditation on loving kindness. It was wonderful. So many people come, It was really wonderful. But now summer coming, so I'm going to travel myself again. But I will be teaching again in the fall, in October.
In the fall.
Yeah.
So now you're going to go to, as I mentioned in the introduction,
right.
You're going to a lot of the other centers that you've established all over the world.
Right. I'm actually going to Mongolia.
To Mongolia.
In summer, and I've been going there for the last 12 years. I got we have a community there. I teach there to rebuilding Buddhist community there. And also I do NGO work. I raise funds for single mothers and buy yurts for the single mothers, and also orphanage. I raise funds. So I'm going back there to do more work.
So that's the Garden of the West?
Ganden Relief.
Relief.
Yes,
right.
Ganden Relief Project.
Yes. Oh, nice. That's doing great things. That's good to hear.
Thank you.
And you also have centers in Australia, United States, and in Toronto.
Yeah. Toronto, Thunder Bay, Ontario, and Vancouver, and down in the States. Or in Australia, there's a couple of centers. Down Tasmania and Darwin, and all the top end and bottom end.
Oh, yeah. That's
Australia.
Nice. Well, it's so great to hear that you're having such an impact.
Thank you.
On the world and spreading your teachings all over the place. That's
Thank you.
So fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Rinpoche, it was so nice for you to join me here today. It was an honor.
Thank you. My pleasure. Yeah. My pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.